If you want a body that is defined and strong, it is a non-negotiable. You have to lift minimal 3 times a week. You have to hit the right macronutrient split depending on where you are at in terms of your starting point and where you want to go. You have to get enough sleep. Different bodies are going to respond to different amounts of time, but I would say on average for most people, it's somewhere around 7 to 9 hours per night. You have to be able to manage your stress. Like, these are non-negotiables where it doesn't matter how busy your life is. You either figure out how to get this stuff in, or you have to come to terms that you might just not be able to achieve a goal that is, defined. And that's okay. Get in, losers. We're going lifting. The reason you're still not defined isn't because you were lazy, isn't because you were doing anything wrong, but your environment, it kind of sucks. So here's what I mean by your environment kind of sucks. If you are the person who is doing everything for everyone, and you lack boundaries, and you people please, and you do not ask for the things that you need in order to support yourself, that is why you are not making more progress. Listen, I know you get this. Like, you need to strength train at least 3, if not up to 5 times a week. And maybe you can do the 5, maybe it's not possible, but like 3 times a week, committing to an hour, I would imagine if you are somebody who has the time to listen to a podcast like this, there's a really good chance that this is doable. It is possible. And if it isn't, and you're just like, fuck you, Colleen, what do you know? Then you can unsubscribe. But I guarantee 3 hours is plenty to move things forward. And you probably could find 3 hours, but in order for you to find 3 hours, that might mean asking for help. That might mean you're not the person who is, cooking dinner. You are not the person who is picking up whoever needs picking up. You are not the person who is doing that extra hour at the office because you need that hour to get the workout in. And that requires you to show up as the dangerous woman and setting those boundaries so that you can get what it is you need to get for the goal. You understand that you need to track your macros. You're on board with tracking your macros. But by the time you get home, you're just like, I can't be bothered. If you happen to be somebody who is taking care of others, maybe you have a partner, maybe you have kids, maybe you have parents, maybe there is an animal, but other people are counting on you. You do not need to do everything. You do not need to be everything for everyone. If your goal is strong and defined, the one person who really does need you to show up for you is you. And sometimes that means saying no to other people or asking for help or asking for a little grace or, support can look like so many things. It doesn't necessarily mean, hey, Dave, you have to be the one to cook dinner now. But hey, Dave, do you think maybe you could, do the grilling while I'm cutting the vegetables? So maybe that saves me 30 minutes. Like, it doesn't mean you don't do anything and you put it all on somebody else, but could somebody help you save a little extra time by pitching in? I've been the person in the past where it's just like, I'll just do it all because it's almost easier, but it does come at the cost of time. And a lot of times, in order to achieve strong and defined, when you know what you're doing, it's not a matter of, you not being disciplined. It's a matter of, where do I find more time? Where can I save time? Where can I get support so that I can do what is required to achieve this goal? And what I find with a lot of women, especially with women who, they are used to being very independent, or they are used to being the ones who are in control of a lot of things, you have to delegate. And if you can't delegate, it's going to be really freaking hard to achieve strong and defined. I would say, if you're tuning into this on Christmas Eve and you have yet to receive a holiday gift you really want, ask for the gift of support. Ask for the gift of getting some time back. If it's really challenging for you to find time and, cook, let's say you cook dinner, is it possible that maybe you could get like a meal service thing for the next month for the holidays? Is it possible that you could, if cleaning up around the house, like, could you ask for somebody to clean the house or send the laundry out instead of you doing it? Or, if you happen to have kids at home, like, and they want to give you like a holiday gift, could they be the ones to fold the laundry? Like, I think there's different ways that you can kind of play it to get some time back. And you know what? Listen, I'm not a mom. And if you do not want to get advice from somebody who is not momming, like, that's fine. But in order to achieve strong and defined, you need time to train. You need time to track your food and get good food. And good food doesn't mean, it has to be organic. It has to be, whatever. You can achieve an amazing aesthetic with some of the cheapest food at the grocery store. Like, I used to be the person who's like, ew, chicken's so gross. Chicken breast is one of the easiest lean protein sources to hit that macronutrient in a relatively small serving. And it's also one of the cheapest ones you can get at the grocery store. Being able to be healthy while achieving an aesthetic that is strong and defined, it does not require an organic diet. You can do this in a very feasible way, but it does require you to have time to train and track the food. And that can be one of those things that just like mentally feels like a lot. You could potentially even ask, your partner, if you have one, can you learn how to track food too? So maybe you could put it in my tracker. Like, I had a woman that I was working with and she was like, yeah, I'm starting my tracking journey. And I asked my husband if he could learn how to do it so he could just input all of the recipes into my app. And that was able to save me time. I thought that was so cool. And what a cool dynamic between partners in terms of showing support. But, if you are that person who still doesn't have time, but, it's not the family, it's not the kiddos or the partner. Maybe you're the person who is just like constantly on the clock at work and you are not training, you're not tracking, because when your boss asks you to do something, you can't say no. You have to learn how to say no. And if it's like, I just can't, what needs to change? I've had a number of people who live in golden handcuffs. And as great as it can be to sometimes be in situations where it's like, well, the money is just coming in. If you are losing your health in exchange, like losing your physical health and losing your mental health in exchange for money, where it's like, well, what are you actually doing with it? Is it really worth it? Do you need to change something? Do you need to change your occupation? Do you need to change the way you communicate? Do you need to change boundaries? Do you need to have a hard conversation so that your life can improve, instead of you constantly thinking to yourself, like, I know what to do, but I can't implement it in order to get the body that I'm trying to go after? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Getting support from other people, it is not a weakness by any means. It is leverage. So whether that be from the people you live with helping out to allow you to have more time, or you hiring somebody. And I'm not just like talking about hiring out a meal prep service or stuff like that, but if you're the person who is, trying to learn how to lift on your own, like you are doing research and trying to implement stuff on your own, I get that sometimes that's nice in terms of, saving a dollar or just being able to do everything on your own. But if you were to invest in a trainer for, a few months to feel confident, that could save you a lot of time. That could save you a lot of research. That could help you to move the needle forward in a faster and more efficient way. And I think one thing that is a little bit of a misconception when you hire a trainer, nobody's expecting you to like be with them forever. I've had some clients who I've adored working with for long periods of time. And I've had others where it's like, now that you're at this point and these are what your current goals are, I'm not expecting you to train one-on-one with me. You can come into a group container. You can just do programming. You can, do whatever you want. But just because you hire somebody doesn't mean that like now I'm locked in for life. And if somebody's making you feel like you are locked in for life, I'm questioning, what is the messaging they're putting out there, or what story is coming up in your head that you think that this is now like a life sentence with somebody. And if you're the person where it's just like you're constantly on the go, maybe it's not even the pressure from your boss or pressure from your family. You're just somebody who's like constantly going for whatever reason. Like, in order to achieve this goal, you have to invest the time to doing these specific things. If you want a body that is defined and strong, it is a non-negotiable. You have to lift minimal 3 times a week. You have to hit the right macronutrient split depending on where you are at in terms of your starting point and where you want to go. You have to get enough sleep. Different bodies are going to respond to different amounts of time, but I would say on average for most people, it's somewhere around 7 to 9 hours per night. You have to be able to manage your stress. Like, these are non-negotiables where it doesn't matter how busy your life is. You either figure out how to get this stuff in, or you have to come to terms that you might just not be able to achieve a goal that is, defined. And that's okay. Like, nobody needs to have a seriously defined body unless you're trying to become like an Abercrombie and Fitch model from like the early 2000s. Like, it's not a requirement. But if that is what you want, there are non-negotiable things that you need to put into action consistently, not for a week, not for a month, most likely for, several months, for a year, for years. And that's how it all happens. And if you are under-resourced, if you don't have the energy, if you don't have the support to help achieve that goal, then it's just not going to happen. So something I would encourage you to think about, depending on when you're listening to this episode, and knowing that we are in that holiday season and knowing that New Year's is right around the corner, if there is a part of you that is feeling like, yeah, I don't have the support, or, yeah, I do need to figure out how to get more time. Think about what could open up your ability to get those workouts in and to not like waste time doing things that aren't going to work. Listen, you do not need to run and do these workouts and get to Pilates and do the boot camp classes to get defined. You want to get defined? You train 3 times a week for an hour on a progressive program that is focused on building muscle. That's what you do. You dial into your nutrition. Do you need to do all these other things? Absolutely not. Can you do these other things if you have the time? Sure. Can you take the Pilates class? Is that going to hurt you? Absolutely not. But if time is one of those things that you don't have a whole lot of access to, why the fuck are you going to waste it doing something that is not moving you closer towards your goal? Because you like it? Okay. But then we just have to kind of weigh in, what matters more. Don't cry that you don't have your body because you don't have the time, where you do have the time, but something else matters a little bit more. That's okay. I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, like she's shaming me because I want to go to Pilates because it feels good to be at Pilates. That's great. Like, I have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend who likes going to Pilates because the aesthetic of the studio is beautiful. And this is the one place where she doesn't have to be mom. She doesn't have to be the business owner. She doesn't have to be the wife. She doesn't have to be super uncomfortable, lifting her kettlebells. She can just like be for an hour. And right now she's in a season of life where that is one of the priorities. That gives her a sense of peace. And she knows, well, if I care more about the aesthetic stuff, I would probably be better suited, taking that time to move the needle forward with, what I'm doing food wise or getting another kettlebell workout in. But that's just not the number one priority right now. And that's okay. Listen, priorities can change. Seasons can change. Just understand that if you are trying to build this defined body, non-negotiables, you got to lift 3 times a week at minimum, focusing in on compound lifts. Think squats, deadlifts, like big patterns, lifting heavy enough weight, challenging yourself, implementing progressive overload. That just means we're making the workouts a little bit harder when our body allows us to make it a little bit harder, hitting the right macronutrient splits, managing our stress, getting enough sleep. Like that's what it takes. That's what it takes over time, consistently. So if you're thinking to yourself, this is what I want and I don't have it, what kind of support do you need right now in order to get it? Because that's how you get it. This really is not about, I need more effort. It's about, I need better conditions. I need better support. I need to figure out what is going to allow me to do these simple things consistently in order to achieve my goal. And once that gets figured out, then you are going to get what it is you've been going after, which I would imagine is that strong and defined body. You can do this. You just need to take some action, move a couple of things around to make sure you are able to implement those non-negotiable things, which again is lifting minimal time, 3 times a week, progressive strength training program. If you need help in that department, reach out to me, www.colleenconlon.com. Plenty of different things, different offers, different intensities, different price points so that I can help you move forward in that capacity. You got to track those macros. You got to manage stress. So you know what you need to do. So up next, make your move. You can do this. Make 2026 the year where you finally get what you want. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Dangerous Woman podcast. I'm your host, Colleen Conlon. Make sure to leave a rating and review. If you are just finding us, make sure to tune in on YouTube. We have lives, shorts, and more to come on that channel in 2026.